the men's final of the D3 College National Championships presented by Ultiworld and USA Ultimate. With Mike Ball, I'm Daniel Prentice to bring you this exciting matchup between the 1 and 2 seeds, Air Force and Middlebury. The matchup we've been looking forward to really all season long. Mike, what are you looking forward to in this one?
Yeah, this is going to be an awesome game. These two teams have played each other several times. They matched up in the semifinals last year and gave us an incredible game. They played earlier this season in the showcase game at FCS D3 Tune-Up. Gave us an incredible double game point 14-13 game there that Middlebury won. Both of these teams have a few players playing in this game that didn't play in that one, so we'll get a little bit of intrigue here. But both teams are coming off intense semifinals. Air Force was up big 12-7 against Carleton GOP. GOP came back and made it a 13-12 game, and Air Force was able to grind out a 15-13 win. Middlebury just finished what's been the game of the tournament so far, an incredible game against Richmond where no team led by more than 2 points at any point. Middlebury breaking on double game point to win 12-11. So they're coming off a really high emotional wave right now. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep it rolling here in the finals.
Well, with any luck, we will get an equally exciting game here. Two very talented teams, really the matchup, as I said, that we've been looking forward to all year long.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's the 1 versus 2 seat, so it looks like everything went chalk and everything went straight forward, but it really has been an incredible tournament to get to this point. But I think we have the two best teams here in the final, and it's going to be a great game.
You see Leo Silva Fernandez pulling for Middlebury. They are in black, starting on defense. Air Force in white, going from left to right on your screen. Alan Villanueva starting the offensive move for Air Force. Settles for the easy reset. And Air Force going for the big gainer. Ooh, big contact deep. Swatted away by the Middlebury defender.
That's sophomore Kevin Strensky. He and Asher Lance will both be taking turns on Matthew Moshe for Air Force. Hopefully he's okay. That'd be a big loss. It looks like he's bounced back all right.
Take another look at the hook from Yanscher, looking for Moshe.
This is a tough call because it wasn't a great throw, and hospital discs like that, there's almost always contact, and it's hard to determine the outcome. Let's see what they come up with. Oh, it looks like Strensky's bleeding, so he has to come out of the game. Strensky understandably frustrated.
Yeah, pretty tough contact there.
Both guys' eyes on the disc, though. It was honest play, just very unfortunate contact.
And now players talking it out. It looks like it's Kai De Lorenzo who comes on for his injured teammate.
That's a nice sub for Middlebury here, all things considered. You know, obviously you never want to have an injury occur, but Kai will be big on this possession for them.
Asher Lance getting that under, hitting Silva Fernandez. And there's De Lorenzo catching that under. Middlebury looking to get a break on this opening point of this championship game. Great handler cut. De Lorenzo, now he's looking deep but has no one cutting for him.
Tough miscommunication there, but they do turn in the opposite end zone, forcing Air Force to go the full 70 yards here if they want to get their first hold.
Take another look. Pretty throw from De Lorenzo, just no one in the vicinity.
One of those where you yell at your cutters for not getting under your perfect throw. How dare they?
Right. So Air Force, their second possession of this opening point. Tight throw, but well caught under pressure. Sliding grab from Jeremy Moran.
Foul call there. Probably would have wanted to see him use contact to be able to keep play flowing. I'm sure he wishes he'd have done the same.
Contested foul. Now the players discussing where the count will come in. They determine that it's 3, disc back in play. Yanscher with the disc. It's the under to Will Cooper. He resets. Villanueva giving up a lot of yardage there, but is able to make the catch. Tight pressure on the reset space. Zach Arns with it now for Air Force. Floaty little flick to Villanueva. Now he's looking to go deep, but that one underthrown. De Lorenzo able to intercept. Silva Fernandez has this on the near sideline. Silva Fernandez, just a freshman.
Nice poach there from Yancer to force the bad throw from Silva Fernandez.
Looking for DiLorenzo. So sloppiness from both teams here. Villanueva picking back up for Air Force. He's going long again. This one floating. Matt Frierson going up, but can't quite make the catch. He didn't have the position.
That's 2 Huck turnovers on this point from Villanueva. He's certainly Air Force's most dynamic player and their best player, but he has shown in the past a tendency to shoot them out of some points, and it's looking like this is one of those points so far.
Taking another look. That's nice defense from Sean Fallon. Held position, got up. High point of the disc, swatted away. So Middlebury with another opportunity to break.
Nice shot.
So Fernandez going for a big backhand, but it's swatted in the middle, but still caught downfield. Some fortune there for Middlebury. DiLorenzo, big bendy backhand to the end zone, and that's caught. Middlebury takes them a few chances, but they do get the break to start us off.
That's sophomore Danny Grubbs-Donovan with the goal. Nice shape on that throw from DiLorenzo. As you mentioned, fortunate tip for Middlebury on that hook. I actually think it might have been Deed if it didn't get tipped, but the tip gave the offensive player a chance to come back for it, as you see here. Didn't look like he was very open. You see the shape on that throw from DiLorenzo. Nice find there to punch it in.
And a nice sliding grab to reel it in as well.
So when these two teams played earlier this year at FCS Tune-Up, the big difference between the two teams, in my observation, was the cleanliness of their resets. Middlebury had a really well-drilled, focused, clean reset system, and Air Force struggled at times to get the disc off the trap sideline. They did a nice job of using their athleticism to open up the line and get those resets, but they weren't able to change the point of attack. Middlebury's marks were really effective. And you saw in that last point, all the throws were coming on this near sideline. Air Force wasn't able to get it over to the high side of the field. It'll be something to watch going forward to see if their handlers and if their cutters, once they get the disc, are able to break the mark effectively and get the disc to both sides of the field. Great start for Middlebury, though. We mentioned the double game point they were coming off of, and it's nice to keep the energy rolling. Really easy to have an emotional letdown when you come off an intense semifinal, but looks like they've stayed sharp here.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ask for a better start than getting a break on the first point of the game.
Little adjustment from Air Force, bringing over Noah Chun-Moy, who has the drop there.
And it looked like it was maybe blocked as well by Walker Frankenberg.
Certainly.
So the impressive handler defense continues for Middlebury, and now they have a very short field to work with, looking for another break. Ooh, and trying to milk that one into the end zone.
So the adjustment I wanted to discuss, bringing Chun-Moy over, has moved Villanueva downfield, and here he is on the hook. Unbelievable!
Alan Villanueva climbing the ladder and then jumping off the ladder to make that catch.
Oh, my gosh.
Great save on the hook. And Air Force now in goal-scoring territory, and a great grab in the end zone as well. Frierson laying out to reel that one in. A couple of highlight reel plays get Air Force on the board.
Air Force giving the people what they want, giving us a show. 2 grabs on that play who will make any team's highlight reel. That catch from Villanueva was unbelievable. It was almost like a layout sky. Like he went horizontal at his peak. That was insane. Hopefully we get a replay of that here.
I'm sure we will shortly.
Here it is. Oh, no, this is the first turnover. It was a block. Good eye on that one, Dan. Nice defense there from Frankenberg.
And just trying to do a little too much. Just make that catch before you try to get the score.
That's one of those grabs that's going to come back to haunt Middlebury if they end up losing this game.
And Frierson with a great catch. Usually a catch like that is the most impressive play of a point. Wasn't so there. I think we'll
see the most impressive one right here.
Yeah. Yanger picking up and going deep right away. And Villanueva it's getting up so high to make that catch.
So the point that I was making when that play happened was the move of Chun-Moy over to the O-line there facilitated Villanueva moving downfield to the cutting space. And I actually think he's more impactful in that cutting space. I think we'll talk about this a little bit later. He played with Johnny Bravo this past summer in the club division and got to cut for them, and I think that's his best role. I think his throws can be dangerous downfield. He doesn't have to start in the handler space to be effective with his throws.
Well, we certainly saw that play out in that point. What an impressive catch. So Air Force just barely dodging the back-to-back breaks. And now Middlebury, first point on offense, big floaty hook, putting them in goal-scoring territory. An easy connection for the scorer, Zach Levitt. Able to find Kevin Strensky back out on the field after suffering an injury earlier. Good to see him back out there. Middlebury's pleased to see it too. He gets the goal.
Not great defense there from Air Force against the side stack. The first initiation cut just blew past his defender, and you see there, gets his guy turned around, and there's no cap, no help over the top. When you recognize that side stack as a defense, you need to go ahead and set a cap over the top. Don't let the offense get off their first look so easily.
Yeah, no, it was really an uncontested throw from Dylan Salzman as well to gain all those yards.
To the force side, to be fair, but yeah, the mark certainly could have applied more pressure. As far as the conditions go, it is fairly hot out here. I think the temperature right now is in the high 80s. There's a little bit of a breeze moving through. It's from left to right on your screen. It's really what we talked about this earlier as what's referred to in the community as a thrower's wind, where if you're a good thrower, you see there 5-mile-per-hour winds in the corner of your screen. If you're a good thrower, you can utilize this wind to your advantage, float the disc for your cutters effectively, and it's not going to affect them going too much downwind.
And Mike, you mentioned the heat. We are, to my knowledge, in the level 1 heat advisory, which means once a team has scored 4 points, we will take a heat break.
Yeah, USA Ultimate has done a really nice job of taking care of the players in the heat this weekend. There's big fans for both sidelines, blowing cool air, blowing a little bit of mist. There's been tents provided for every team, plenty of cold water, watching the temperature, taking care of the schedule. Really nice job from USAU to protect the players in this Texas heat.
So they've done a good job, and they've done a lot to help us bring this stream to you as well, available on ultraroll.com/live, as well as over at USAU. And Air Force enters the red zone, but looks like the disc might come back.
You see what we talked about here earlier. Air Force again getting trapped on that 4 sideline, not able to get resets off the line, having to jam it up the line there to Villanueva.
You see the observer overruling the call, so the disc will stay with Villanueva. Villanueva being marked by the freshman Silva Fernandez.
Big matchup for a freshman, but he's been up to the task this weekend with some of his other tough matchups, and I expect him to be up to it in this game as well. Give Allen all he can handle.
A nice throw from Villanueva, finding Yancher.
Everything's up the line, and it works.
Yep, Villanueva with the goal. Silva Fernandez did the best he could, but comes up just short on the layup block, and Air Force gets the clean hold.
Testament to Villanueva's agility and shiftiness there to manage to get that inside shoulder on Silva Fernandez, sealing him out to catch that up line. Really nice cut there in a tight space to make it as easy as possible for his thrower.
And I believe the first clean possession of the game for Air Force. Offense perhaps settling in a little bit after the bumpy start.
Another point in which we saw Villanueva start downfield in the cutter space. And you see we highlight here, Villanueva was selected to the 2019 U24 mixed team. They'll be competing in Heidelberg, Germany this summer in the U24 World Championships. He played this past summer with Johnny Bravo out of Denver in the club division. And he's a finalist for this year's Donovan Award as well. We'll be awarding that after the women's final later today. One of 5 finalists for the award. He's been a pillar of this Air Force team for the past 4 years, and this is his senior year. They've been in nationals all 4 seasons. They made the semifinals his freshman year and the final last year, and looking to see if he can put them over the top this year and finally bring home a championship.
They're behind the 8 ball early, though. Down a break after getting broken on that first point.
I think we'll see plenty more breaks in this game, though, Daniel. Both teams are really good defensively and have a lot of firepower. I think it's going to be a game of runs with scores going both directions.
Certainly hope it sets up that way. DiLorenzo making that catch as Middlebury crosses midfield in a couple of throws. He's looking for Salzman, but a great block. Noah Chun-Moy making the play.
Oh, a foul call.
I'd say I really don't know about that one. There may have been contact, but it seemed to be clearly after the play from Chun-Moy.
It was after the play and with both players bidding into the same space. I would be shocked to see this call upheld, and a quick discussion from the observers.
Take another look. Yeah, observer rules, no foul. Really an impressive defensive play from Chun-Moy. Glad that one stood. So Air Force will have a chance to get that break back.
You understand the call from Salzman when you feel that contact on the follow-through, especially that level of contact. It's a gut reaction to make the foul call, but I think it's a good thing we have the observers here to serve as the level-headed party overruling that call. And now we'll see if Air Force can get their break back.
72, do a 3-2-1 ground check, and we can go.
All right, everything was figured out. The disc back in play, and Chun-Moy, after that great layup block, will pick up and looking it to the end zone right away. He's got an open cutter down there for the score. That's Juan Ramos, who is open in the end zone. Air Force gets the break back. We're back on serve.
Just an incredible block again by Noah Chun-Moy. He's one of the most agile defenders, really good in the small spaces, very quick and explosive with getting off his feet without having to have a build-up for it. Really nice edge on this throw here, too, to hit his cutter in stride in the break side space.
You see the shades. Juan Ramos. It is sunny out here, Mike. It was pretty overcast early in the day, but the sun is definitely out now, beating down on this turf.
Yeah, if we get lucky enough to have a cloud move in front of the sun again, I'm sure you'll hear an audible cheer from everybody in attendance. I know that happened earlier, and the sideline started clapping. It was very funny.
Yeah, for the most part, the heat hasn't really been too bad out here. I think it's definitely the hottest it's been all weekend right now.
Yeah, yesterday was overcast all day, and there was pretty strong winds, too, that were steadily cooling everybody off. And this morning was pretty nice as well, but as we progress to later in the day, the sun is coming out, and it's getting tougher for these teams. So Air Force gets their break back pretty quickly. Middlebury's lead doesn't last long. We're back on serve here. And it looks like a pretty similar D-line here for Air Force, not crossing anybody over. Nice pull there from Michael Delat.
And Salzman watches it fly past. So Middlebury will start this possession deep, looking to gain a lot of yards right away, but that one's going to be too far for DiLorenzo. So Air Force with another chance to break. They'll have the full field to go.
I find it interesting that Salzman is centering the disc to Hansen. I would have thought it'd be the other way around, trying to get the disc in their star handler's hands as early as possible in the point.
And a juggle and catch. No idea how Air Force is able to hold on to that one. But Solomon Hansen able to save possession.
Great defense there from Strensky. Unlucky to not get the block.
And another dicey completion for Air Force.
See, everything's going over to the Force side again.
Air Force still able to hold possession so far.
Great shot from Chun-Moy.
Yeah, impressive break throw to find Connor Grant. And he's going to air it out looking for the goal. Up in the air, and Chun-Moy comes down with it in the end zone. Silva Fernandez going up a little early, unable to make the catch. Chun-Moy had the better read. Comes up and down with it for another Air Force break.
Great throw there. I think that was number 13, Connor Grant, on the hook. Chun-Moy with the excellent read. Silva Fernandez making the right move, in my opinion, as a defender to go up and give yourself a chance at the block. Always want to be the first one in the air as a defender, trying to avoid getting posted, and you only have to get a tip, whereas the offense has to catch it. But a little bit of a misread, and Chun-Moy reads it perfectly and comes down with the goal. You see the bobble there, very fortunate reset for Air Force.
Look at that throw from Grant. Chun-Moy just timing the leap a little bit better. And with that goal, Air Force puts 4 on the board, which means we will take a heat timeout. We have our own Sam Echeverria on the field. Sam, how are the players dealing with the heat on that turf out there?
They're stepping on that ice trying to get those cleats to cool down. I've seen every single drink under the sun that you could imagine in order to keep these players cool and hydrated, from sports drinks to water tablets, everything. Parents out here are directing all their players to be refueling, whether that's the nice cool at USAU water jugs or reinforcements that they've brought.
What does the respective energy level seem like from the two sidelines? Both teams came off of hotly contested semifinals before they made it to this game. How do both teams' energy levels seem, especially dealing with this heat?
I'd say Middlebury is up there, but it seems almost more of from process and just culture with them. I think they're struggling a little bit being down right now. Air Force is hype. They're excited. I think they're still reserved because they know that the game can change in a minute. But they're definitely feeling up and feeling good as they take the lead here.
Sam, Mike and I have the fortune of being under the shade here. If you had to estimate, how much warmer is it out on the turf under the sun?
It's got to at least be 10 to 15 degrees. It's beating down. I'm going to pull out an umbrella to use as a sun parasol here probably as I walk the sidelines. We've got everybody wearing hats, wearing those player cool pieces. Middlebury's ladies team has pink cowboy hats, which are very fetching and exciting to see here, keeping in line with Middlebury standards. Everybody's huddling under the tents unless you need to be out there cheering for your team.
Sam, thanks so much for that update from the sidelines. Be sure to stay cool out there.
It is interesting. Sam mentioned that Air Force has ice on the ground and they're standing on the ice. I guess the heat on the bottom of their cleats, you can probably feel it coming up through the cleats. You can see their players huddled over ice spilled out on the turf. I can't say I've ever seen that before on the sideline of an ultimate tournament. This is interesting stuff.
Yeah, very innovative from the Air Force group. And, yeah, the turf just gets so hot. Soaks through those cleats, makes your feet hot.
So back to the game here. I think this heat timeout came at an opportune time for Middlebury. Air Force just scored 2 breaks in a row and had some momentum going. And this timeout potentially stopping that momentum, giving Middlebury a chance to clear their heads, level themselves out, try and get some momentum going again, see if they can get back to the clean start that they had to the game.
On your screen, you got to look at Kevin Strensky. Notice the bandage on his eyebrow. Took a tough elbow to the face. It was bleeding earlier, but back out there, showing you what this game means to both these teams. Last game of the season, whether you win or lose, sure is a lot nicer to win, though, so both teams can leave it all out there.
Sam mentioned the Middlebury women's team being on the sideline, joining their men's division counterparts. They're providing a real boost of energy right now. Air Force has a nice big sideline with lots of parents. There's a lot of energy going on in this game. This is fun stuff. This is what we live for.
Yeah, atmosphere definitely building here in this championship game. Middlebury starting in their own end zone. Centering pass able to get them out.
Notable adjustment from the Air Force D-line, or maybe not adjustment but change. Noah Chunmoy taking this point off, and Ted Yancer has moved over as a key handler on a turn for this D-line.
And Frankenberg with the give and go. He's now airing it out, looking for the score. Plenty of players underneath, and that one swatted away. 3 Air Force defenders to 2 Middlebury Cutters. Advantage goes to the 3. And so Air Force will have a break opportunity on the 3rd straight point. But a quick turnover in the handler space. Going for the tough reset look, unable to complete it. And so Middlebury takes back over with a very short field to work with. It'll be Salzman to pick up for Middlebury.
Look for Salzman and Hansen to drive the offense here. There it is. Salzman hits Hansen on a strike cut for the easy hold.
Yeah, quick score from Middlebury once they get the disc back. They needed that after getting broken 2 points in a row. Able to stop the roll from Air Force.
See here the turnover from Yancer, looking to get the disc over to that break side of the field. An encouraging sign that they were looking to make that happen. I think they've learned that that's what's going to open up their offense. Just unable to execute it there. And easy money for Salzman hitting Hansen up the line.
See a couple Air Force parents there doing the best they can to find some shade and stay cool.
They look incredibly comfortable, all things considered.
Got their own cooler there, chairs, Air Force-themed umbrellas.
You would never know the intensity of this game by looking at those two very comfortable parents right there.
Confident in their Air Force players, I think, at this point. And why not? They're up a break. It's been a little bit, though, since we've seen the O-line out there after the couple of breaks added with the heat timeout. See if the O-line shows any signs of rust.
Middlebury stacking this D-line a little bit. You've got DiLorenzo, Silva Fernandez, Frankenberg out there, all guys who have been playing offense for Middlebury this weekend. Crossing over to the D-line, Asher Lance as well. Looks like Lance is going to draw the Moshe matchup. Moshe been largely anonymous so far. It's been the other Air Force cutters who have really stepped up and made the plays. Moshe was tied for their tournament lead in goals after yesterday and is a goal-scoring machine for Air Force. It'll be interesting to see if he can start getting involved.
Yeah, it's Villanueva who starts the offense, goes to Arns on the far sideline. And Silva Fernandez near that one, but Villanueva able to hang on under pressure.
Air Force's host stack is a little bit deep right now. Cutters don't have a ton of space to go into because of how deep they're starting. Need to see them tighten that up a little bit. Nice find there from Yancer.
In the red zone now on the far sideline is Air Force. Yancer with it again.
Not a lot of movement from the stack.
And a great layout catch block. Middlebury stealing it away. Great defensive play from Asher Lance.
Incredible grab. Oh, and they give it right back on an unfortunate drop.
Yeah, Danny Grubbs-Donovan unable to hold on to that one. Villanueva was looking to attack quickly, holstered it instead.
And you can see again just how deep the cutters are in this host stack. It gives them no away space to come into. And Middlebury defenders can just sit underneath them.
Air Force spending a lot of time looking for Villanueva. Silva Fernandez up to the task that time. Yancer looking to Arns for the reset. Moshe coming under. Arns with it again. And I think he was looking for Villanueva, but too far out in front, and that was swatted. Middlebury with another block. Another chance for a break.
The handlers and cutters are just out of sync right now for Air Force. They can't get on the same page as we see the Huck go up.
And that's a big gainer to DiLorenzo. All of a sudden, Middlebury in the red zone, trying to get this one back on serve. Blade across the field, now in swatted. DiLorenzo getting a little too aggressive on that throw.
Middlebury's got to be frustrated with that decision from DiLorenzo. He didn't really have a mark on him. There wasn't a stall count. There's no need to force that throw when he could have waited for an easier option.
Yeah, I think you see some visual frustration from Silva Fernandez at least out there. And we have a timeout called by Air Force. These long points really take their toll in this heat.
Yeah, of course Middlebury's hoping to get their break back here, but even if they don't, they have to feel like they're winning this point as far as making the Air Force O-line really grind and battle, creating multiple turns, multiple chances.
Air Force, a couple of red zone turnovers already on this point. They got the full field to go now. Had a few points like this already. Battles out there in the championship game, every point matters so much.
Well, one of the things that Middlebury is really good at is making you uncomfortable, pulling you out of the first look that your offense wants and making you go to your second and third and really testing your patience in your system to hit that second and third look and not just get to be comfortable with the first look that you've designed. And Air Force's handlers are struggling with syncing up with the cutters right now. Once that first look gets taken away, it seems like things are falling apart a little bit. I'd look for an aggressive shot here to start from Villanueva.
Mike called it looking at downfield right away, but that's knocked away again. Impressive downfield defense from Frankenberg. Villanueva looking for looking for Jeremy Moran, but Frankenberg up to the task downfield.
Frankenberg, one of several very impressive freshmen from Middlebury. They have a very talented group of underclassmen that are going to have them in games like this for years to come.
DiLorenzo looking for it all, and that is on the money. Sean Fallon catches the goal for Middlebury. They get the break. We're back on serve.
Great shot from DiLorenzo. Coming out of his hand, I thought it might be a little hot, but that thing sat on a shelf perfectly for his cutter. You can't ask for a better throw than that as a deep cutter. Nice shot from DiLorenzo. Right under the mark. Perfect throw. DiLorenzo actually had a little bit of a scare in their semifinal. In the very first game, he and his defender tripped up over each other, and DiLorenzo actually had his heel stomped on pretty good, totally accidental play. And he came off injured and sat out the rest of the first half, taking care of that injury, went and got it wrapped up, was testing it out on the sideline, and spent halftime getting warmed up again, and was able to come in and be an impact player in the second half, and eventually made the big play on double game points, skying a pack of defenders before flipping it in for the win. Great to see him out here healthy. Nobody wants to see the outcome decided by injury, and it's great to have the best players on both teams out here playing in this game.
Yeah, certainly, and we've gotten to see the impact DiLorenzo can have early in this one. Through 8 points, we've had 4 breaks, 2 apiece. Mike predicted that after the first one, that teams would both be capable of putting runs together.
And even more so as we get later in the game and lines start tightening up a little more, it stops becoming a game of O versus D and more becomes a matchup of your 10 best players versus their 10 best players, and that's always going to lead to a game of runs, and especially in this heat when the offense isn't always going to be super clean. You see Noah Chunmoy coming over for this O point.
A big fake from Chunmoy before settling for the reset. But now Air Force airing it out, looking for Villanueva deep. And that is an absolute dime. Michael Delott hits Villanueva on the money. Air Force with a quick answer, a quick hold.
Great throw from Delott. We've seen, obviously, that Villanueva has a tremendous catch radius and can come down with quite a bit, but you always want to make it as easy as possible for your teammates, and Delott hits him in stride there, right in the stomach with a nice goal. And again, we see Villanueva getting to move downfield and operate as a cutter, and the Air Force offense opens up with his dynamicism. Is that the right word?
Dynamism, I think.
Dynamism downfield. Thanks for the help there.
Yeah, sure thing.
But great throw and great cut and great grab. Nice hold for Air Force.
Yeah, don't hold that slip up too badly against Mike. It's been a long weekend for all of us out here in the heat. He's been working as hard as just about anyone, and if you've appreciated Mike's hard work all season, consider getting a subscription to Ultiworld. We're underway with our subscription drive for the season as we wrap up our coverage here of D3 College Nationals and get ready for D1 College Nationals this upcoming week.
Yeah, this is our first time getting to live stream from D3 Championships, and we're able to do that thanks in part to the funding we receive from our subscribers. And we have a 10-person team out here, better coverage of the women's division than we've ever had. We have 3 female reporters out here, which has been incredible, and a lot of that is in thanks to the support we receive from our subscribers. So if you've enjoyed our coverage, if you've enjoyed any of our coverage this season, please consider getting a subscription so that we continue to make things bigger and better in the future.
Absolutely. It really does go a long way, and we appreciate everyone who's already become a subscriber. We see Middlebury back out on offense. Salzman floating that one out for DiLorenzo. And tight defense from Connor Grant, forcing DiLorenzo to go up early, unable to make the catch. So Air Force with a chance to break.
Yeah, I talked to the Air Force captains before this weekend about players they expected to step up big for them, and Connor Grant was a name that all of them mentioned. He's been awesome as a defender this year. As you see, a turnover there from Delott. Can't create the same magic that he created on the previous point with his huck. But they circled Connor Grant as an unknown quantity by most of their opponents. He missed a couple of tournaments early this season, but incredible athlete, lefty, who's picking up the game very quickly. We saw the huck he had to Chunmoy earlier in the game, and he's taking this DiLorenzo matchup, and he's giving DiLorenzo everything he can handle so far in this game.
That throw from Delott, a bit awkward. Looked like it maybe slipped out of the hand. It's really not the angle he was trying to put on it. As Salzman looking for DiLorenzo deep right away once again. And this time, DiLorenzo's able to get up, come down with it. Middlebury quickly threatening.
Nice cut.
Just a couple of yards out of the end zone. It's Strensky. Resets back to Salzman.
Nice reset defense there from Air Force. Make Middlebury go backwards there.
DiLorenzo with it once again.
Looked like there's a travel a couple of throws ago. Chunmoy calling it on Salzman.
Yeah, so it'll come back 2 throws. It was Levitt that had it on the far sideline for Middlebury, but this coming back.
Interesting travel call. It was on a forced side throw. I'm not sure how much of an advantage was even gained if he did drag his foot, but held up nonetheless, and back to Salzman.
Salzman with the scuba, but his cutter trips and falls. Looks like DiLorenzo going to call a foul on that play.
At first glance, I thought the turf monster might have gotten him, and it's just been a regular slip, but we'll see what the observers think, see if there was some contact that caused the fall.
Fortunately, couldn't tell. And really a great catch there. Totally unnecessary, but a great grab.
Doing it for the cameras.
Yeah, Michael Galat showing off there.
I guess one of those better safe than sorry, but
Sure.
Tell me what I did. That fouled him? Yeah. Okay, I didn't feel that. Good? Okay. Thank you. Where do I have it?
You have it at the spot of the foul. Yeah, roughly here. All right, we're coming one. We're going to get a check, defensive check.
And so it is ruled a foul, and so DiLorenzo gets the disc. And a nifty little throw to the end zone for the score. Middlebury looks like they turned it over, but get it back on the foul call, and they convert for the hole.
Hansen with another goal on a strike cut. He has been getting open at will in the reset space. So it'll be interesting to see if Air Force can make any adjustments to try and take that away. I believe that's the second strike cut goal we've seen from Hansen just in these first 5 goals for Middlebury. I'm still not sure. It's hard to get a good look if there really was contact that caused that trip. It sounded like there was respectful discussion between the players and the observer, and so we have to trust that the right call was made, but very unfortunate for Air Force to give up a goal after just an iffy play like that.
You have to say, on that replay, it really didn't look like there was contact. We didn't get a great, up-close, slow-mo look, but it really did look like DiLorenzo just fell. But the observers obviously saw something there.
They've got a better view than we do, so
Certainly.
we're going to trust them.
So we're all knotted up at 5s. Been a back-and-forth game so far. Hoping this holds up right to the end.
DiLorenzo stuffing the stat sheet early in this game. He's already got 3 assists on the 5 Middlebury goals. He's that kind of player where he finds the end zone or is the one finding his teammates. Very dynamic player. We see Villanueva's back in the handler space. We'll see how the Air Force offense looks.
You have to say, it has been interesting to see him fluctuate so much between multiple spots. Silva Fernandez, big layout attempt, unable to get around Villanueva for the block.
I think it goes on both directions as a disadvantage for them to have him in that space. I think he's shown to be their most dynamic cutter and their best option downfield, but I also think Silva Fernandez is more comfortable guarding him in the handler space. He looks like he's creating more pressure there, and typically downfield, unbelievable bid there from Asher Lance.
Yeah, again, coming up empty, but Middlebury laying it all on the field trying to get this disc. Pretty easy reset there for Villanueva.
The
It's
problem
Friars underneath.
The problem with those resets, though, is they're not gaining any advantage. They're almost going directly backwards. They're not switching the field or gaining yards in any way. Great upline throw there from Villanueva.
Yeah, great touch to find Frierson, put him on the goal line. And an easy little dink into the end zone for the clean Air Force hold.
Yeah, not the prettiest end zone set. I'm sure that's not one that Air Force coach Carl Chan will be coming back to in film study as a shining example of what they want, but all the goals count the same, and they found the open player in the end zone, and a hold is a hold.
Yeah, as I said to Sam in the women's semifinal last round, they all count the same once you catch it in the end zone. Doesn't matter how fortunate or how pretty it is.
Silva Fernandez just came off the field walking past us and has this incredulous smile on his face and throws his hands up saying, I don't know what else I can do. He's giving Villanueva all he can handle in the reset space and providing a ton of pressure. And you have to think he'll be rewarded with a block eventually, but right now Villanueva is handling that matchup.
Yeah, that's the kind of matchup where you feel like defensively, if you win it just once, you've made an impact on this
That's right.
game.
That's right. And you're also doing your other 6 defenders a favor because they don't have to take that matchup, so you're helping them out in that regard.
And you get a glimpse at this growing sideline, Missouri S&T. They're taking in this game. We had them on the stream earlier in quarterfinals. They came up just short against Richmond in that one.
Very fun game earlier today. Several good highlight plays there. Close 15-11 quarterfinal.
Big pull coming down from Air Force. It's Michael Higgins on the pulling duty, but it ends up out of bounds.
Air Force has stayed pretty steady with their D-line, not crossing over many of their O-line players, maybe 1 or 2 in the handler space. But trusting their defense right now, and we see Connor Grant getting the matchup again on DiLorenzo and Chun Moy taking the Salzman matchup. Both of those matchups have been fun.
And Salzman going right away downfield. Oh, an incredible unbalanced catch. A foul called on the play, but for the moment, that's a great grab by Strensky.
Yeah, I think Delat is saying that Strensky used his off arm to keep position for the grab. Salzman providing perspective from 50 yards away. I'm not sure how much that's going to impact the call.
I think you can kind of see what Delat felt to make that call. Definitely a strong arm from Strensky. Players talking out with the observers.
Fortunately, we're blessed with a 4-observer crew for this game, and they've been doing a great job all weekend. I find that they've, at least the ones that I agree with the call more often than not, I'm not sure that means it's the right call, but they seem like they've done a great job. And I actually think contesting it and sending it back here is the right move. I think it's hard when the hands are in tight like that to determine whether players are feeling each other out or actually pushing in the back. And
right.
I think it's the right move to send it back here. That's a tough call to make.
And one thing Salzman did say as he was lending his perspective, he seemed to be saying that Noah Chun Moy also thought it was not a foul. But regardless, the foul is contested and sent back.
I was joking a little bit about Salzman providing perspective from 50 yards away. We should note that Chun Moy was his defender, so I'm not sure either one of them had the best look at it.
Right, certainly not. Middlebury going right back for the long ball, though, and that one is pulled down. Another impressive catch from Middlebury. This one will count. Josh Sims-Speyer with the highlight reel catch.
Great shot from DiLorenzo, again, hitting his cutter in the back half of the end zone. Another assist for DiLorenzo. That's 4 of the 6 points that he has thrown. It's a really nice IO edge making that throw sit up. And Sims-Speyer catches it at his peak. Great grab.
Big forehand from DiLorenzo. And really a great job by Sims-Speyer to fend off that late defender, high pointing the disc. Middlebury bringing the fireworks these last few points.
Yeah, this game is turning into a highlight fest very quickly, and I am a big fan of it. Both teams have quite a few athletes and great throwers to set those athletes up to be great.
You see a good look at DiLorenzo there. Big smile on his face after that throw. As Mike mentioned, his 4th assist in this one. So he's certainly making his impact felt. And maybe not 100% out there for having suffered an injury in the semifinal round.
Yeah, but you see him jumping right back on for the D point. I wonder if his adrenaline is going. It's going to be one of those things where as soon as he stops, he realizes just how much pain he's in. But right now, he's putting it all out there for his team and playing a high number of points to try and get another break before halftime here.
And so far, he's been able to put on a good show, as both these teams have done, really from the very beginning.
Nice big IO pull from DiLorenzo. Don't know if it's going to stay in bounds. Offsides called, maybe?
Yeah, it has to be offsides. That was far too casual an attempt to catch the pull there. Dylan Salzman on the sideline, I think maybe disagreeing with the offsides call against his team. But either way, Middlebury will have to pull once again. It's DiLorenzo pulling again.
I think this might have worked out for Middlebury. That pull looked just as good, if not better, than the first one. Silva Fernandez getting the Villanueva matchup again.
Yancher with the disc for Air Force. He's looking for Frierson deep. Great throw from Yancher. Frierson just outside the end zone, looking off a pretty open cutter in the end zone. Settles for Moshe in the end. Air Force gets the quick hold.
And Moshe finally gets on the board with a goal. Air Force's leading goal scorer had been pretty quiet in this half. Not exactly the most exciting goal in his career, but again, they all count. Great throw there from Yancher. Impressive effort from Lance trying to come over with the help block. But Yancher waits it perfectly, so it falls in before Lance is able to come over as the help defender and make a play.
Frierson, that's his second assist of the game. He also has a goal. Quietly been a pretty impressive performance for Frierson so far. Not one of the biggest names we've discussed for Air Force, but been a consistent threat.
He's impressed me all weekend. He is very much a role player for them, and he's recovering from a torn ACL. You'll see he has a brace on his leg, and he's not quite as dynamic of an athlete as he once was, but he stepped up big time as a thrower and is one of their cutters who can hit the continuation look after he gets it. A lot of their cutters have to look back to a handler rather than throwing downfield, but Frierson's got the ability to throw the continuation look and throw for gainers downfield and keep the offense moving. Big part of their offense.
And he flashed some real playmaking ability as well earlier, making that great layout catch.
Absolutely.
On that goal that he scored.
Absolutely. So Air Force tries to break for half here. It looks like they still don't really load up a D-line, still trusting their traditional defense here.
Levitt hitting DiLorenzo underneath. Ooh, and a big layout block. Great defensive play. Air Force has the disc next to Solomon Hansen, and they're looking for him the other way immediately. But that throw giving him no chance downfield.
Yeah, a bit of a misread from Hansen as well, but he was double covered there. Not a great look from Chun Moy to try and force the disc quickly.
Yeah, Chun Moy perhaps too influenced by the excitement of his teammates' block. And now Salzman challenging Chun Moy deep. And a great layout grab by Dylan Salzman, Middlebury. They get the hold thanks to the big play from their star player.
Great cut from Salzman. You saw him make, it's referred to in the triangle at least as a butterfly cut, where he drives in at an angle and then plants and cuts straight deep and gets his defender underneath him. And you see the great throw there from Levitt. Nice grab from Salzman. Full extension there for the goal.
And just perfectly aired out on that throw. And the great bid from Salzman.
Chun Moy with decent defense there. He's in the vicinity. If that throw hangs at all, he's able to get in there and try and make a play on it, but hits Salzman in stride. Perfect throw. Timeout's been called. I'm not sure which side called it. But at 7-7 with neither team having taken a timeout, makes sense to go ahead and use it.
Can't take them all with you.
That's right.
And really a big point here as we go into half. The team that gets that half break with the half has such a huge advantage in the second half.
Yeah, big hold here for Air Force needed. If they go into half down a break with Middlebury coming out on offense, they could quickly find themselves down 2, and it's not a position you want to be in, especially in the second half of the final. To Air Force's credit, they've yet to really load up a D-line. They're managing this game without having to play a lot of their players, their top players in both directions. We haven't seen Villanueva on a D-point yet. We haven't seen Moshe on a D-point yet. They're really trusting their depth and trusting their younger players on defense to come through and trusting that Chun Moy can lead them for a break on the turn. We see it didn't work out on the last one, a little bit of a force after a great layout block from Solomon Hansen. But I think Air Force definitely still has some cards left to play in the second half as far as switching up their defensive look, switching up their defensive personnel.
Yeah, you would have to think as this game gets closer to crunch time, they'll start pulling those players over a bit more, I would expect.
Absolutely.
But you'd have to think Air Force takes quite a bit of comfort in that.
Absolutely.
They're not up a break, but they still have the advantage here without having to really rely on their star players every single point so far.
And you're seeing Middlebury have to do the opposite. They're crossing over a lot of their guys. We've seen a lot of points out of DiLorenzo. We've seen a lot of points out of Hansen and Lance. Their players are certainly taking on a little bit more wear and tear than Air Force's top end.
And I think this actually may be of some note. Middlebury having to play in black in this game because not all of their players had matching white jerseys.
Yeah, Air Force wanted to be dark. They had all of their blues on, and they realized that Middlebury didn't have matching whites, and everybody had to switch. And, it's a little thing, but it's hot out there, and black's going to attract more of that heat. Great high release backhand there from Villanueva to get the offense started.
And there's Frierson coming underneath. Air Force looking for this hold to half. And now Frierson flashing a little throwing ability.
Great throw.
Perfect throw for Moran. Air Force. Easy offensive possession there to take half. They'll go into the break up 8-7.
We talked about Frierson being more of a thrower these days than an athlete after the ACL tear, and we see it come to fruition there. Excellent backhand, weighted perfectly, great shape to get around the help defender. Hits his cutter in stride, and excellent goal. And Air Force takes half. They didn't have to cross Chunmoy over there. I was surprised to see that. I thought they would load up that O-line with their top 7 just to make sure they took half, but showing real confidence in the entirety of their roster to come through for them. Great throw again. You see it on your replay there from Frierson.
Yeah, Frierson quietly the star of that half a little bit for Air Force.
I think so.
Not one of the players that we had picked. Okay. Not one of the players we had picked to stand out for Air Force, but while some of those bigger names like Villanueva, Chunmoy have drawn maybe tougher defensive matchups, Frierson's really stepped up. And I think we're going to hear from Sam Echeverria here in a second.
Yeah, Sam's trying to pull someone from the Middlebury sideline to talk to him and talk to her, and I think she's here with Asher Lance and Dylan Salzman, waiting for her to get ready with them, letting them try and cool off real quick.
A pair of Middlebury captains. But so far, a really exciting first half. And we are going to throw it over to Sam, who's with Asher Lance.
Howdy, I'm here with one of the captains of the Middlebury Pranksters. This has been a great, tough, hard half for you. First, we're going to start with, you've got a huge sideline. You've got your women's program here. What's that like for your program, being able to bring both teams here to nationals?
I mean, when we found out that our women's team also made nationals, that was like a huge win for us. The two teams were very close. We try and practice together as much as we can, and they're our biggest fans. It's great to have them.
Definitely a strong fan presence out here. Now, I know that you all don't have coaches. Essentially, your captains are acting as coaches. What kind of changes are you going to bring in the second half or maintain, really, as we come into the final half of the 2019 season?
So I think that what we've been doing on defense is working. They're a tough team, great throwers, great handlers, great cutters, but I think that if we stick to what we know, Dylan's basically like coach captain, and he always says like it's the same game. It's the same game as any other game. It doesn't matter if it's Air Force, doesn't matter if it's the finals. We're gonna play our game and try and win.
Great. And last question for the Heat. What are you doing to keep cool? How do you feel like it's affecting or not affecting y'all in your dark jerseys here?
We're from Vermont. It snows 365 days a year there, but we have a great mothering/parenting presence here, pouring water on our heads, dunking cloth in ice, and it's Texas heat. We thought about it. We knew it was going to be hot coming in, but I think we're doing great. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck in this final half of your season. Great. Throwing back to you guys, Mike and Dan.
Sam, thanks so much, and thanks to Asher as well for taking the time to speak with us at halftime. got to be a lot going through his mind right now.
Yeah, appreciate him stepping up to give us a few moments during the half of the biggest game of his season. I think we're going to take a break here in the booth now and reset ourselves a little bit. Thanks, everybody that's tuned in so far. Stay with us for the second half of the D3 Men's National Championship game, brought to you by USA Ultimate and Ulti World.
Should be a good one. Welcome back for what is set up to be a very exciting half of Ultimate. We are here at the D3 Men's National Championship game at ultiworld.com/live and at USA Ultimate. Air Force pulling to Middlebury to start the second half. Both teams with 2 breaks apiece in the first half, so we are on serve here. Big plays from both sides. Get the sense that they're going to leave it all on the field here in the second half. Dylan Salzman hitting DiLorenzo on and under. Big continue there. In the center, back to Salzman.
Great reset to Salzman, really shifted the field there.
Sim Speyer with the disc. Looking for Salzman to be able to find him despite the disc being deflected early. Middlebury in the red zone now. Offhand throw. A couple throws a little bit behind their targets, but it works in the end. Zach Levitt with the score for Middlebury to tie us back up at 8.
Couple of iffy throws there to finish off that point for Middlebury, hitting their cutters on the back shoulder instead of the front shoulder, giving their defenders a chance to make a play at the disc, but it worked.
So Middlebury coming out of the gates the second half with the hold.
And that's about what you want. That's the best thing you could ask for coming out of half, is a nice, smooth, no turnover hold. Let the intensity of the game start picking back up again, but you don't want it picking up because you turned the disc over. Nice hold from Middlebury, ties us up at 8. 0-0 game to 7.
You look at Leo Silva Fernandez. Really impressive defensively. Hasn't quite been able to come up with that big play. You wonder if he'll find that little extra bit of fire to make the big play in the second half. Been a stalwart for this Middlebury D-line all weekend long.
You feel like he's overdue for one, right? He's come really close on a few bids, and one of those is going to connect. He's been right there on several occasions.
And a nice pull from Silva Fernandez there. It's Alan Villanueva with the disc for Air Force. A couple of cutters going deep for Air Force, but Villanueva settles for the reset. And now here comes the long ball looking for Frierson. And that throw leads him into the end zone to the back shoulder. Frierson have a big game for Air Force, so they get the quick hold. Nice answer for them on their first 0 point in the second half.
Yeah, have yourself a day, Mr. Frierson. Just all over the stat sheet, both throwing and catching, and stepping up big time to help provide this Air Force offense with another playmaker, another person who's going to step up and help Villanueva make plays. Great throw from Yancey as well.
Yeah, putting it where only his man could get it. And Frierson has had great success in the deep space in this game, winning those cuts deep, getting beyond the reach of the Middlebury defense.
That throw there from Yancey is what we in North Carolina, it might be called this elsewhere, but I know in North Carolina call it the throw of the future, where it's that open side throw that fades across to the back shoulder and is fading across to the break side, really getting over the top of the defender and not giving them any chance at a play. A lot of times when you throw four-side to four-side, the defender has that inside lane, but when you can fade it over to the back shoulder, it's easy for the cutter to seal off the defender, and the defender has no chance. And as you saw in that play right there, the defender just gave up knowing that the throw was going to space where he couldn't make a play.
Yeah, it feels a bit like in football when you have a quarterback throw to the outside sideline.
That's right.
So if someone's going to catch it, it's going to be my guy. Defense isn't going to have a play.
That's right.
So as a result of that hold, Air Force maintains that advantage to put the D-line back out there. And as Mike observed in the first half, still not putting out the big names on defense. DiLorenzo with a nice gainer underneath. Hanson coming across. Now it's too high. Noah Chunmoy in the area.
Excellent poach from Chun Moy there. Saw him come up a little gimp grabbing his hamstring. Hope he's okay, but great poach off the front of the stack.
Oh, yeah. Chun Moy definitely looks to be cramping in the hamstring. You see him being helped out by teammate and actually opponent Dylan Salzman there, being the first one to tend to him. Chun Moy would be a big loss for this Air Force side.
Fortunately, it looks like it's just a cramp. Hopefully he can take a sub here and come over to the sideline and get it figured out. And we expect to see this in the second half of these teams' 6th game of the weekend, 3rd of the day in this heat.
It seems to be a pretty serious cramp as Chun Moy gets put down to the turf once again. Mike, you mentioned you saw him grimace a little bit and grab at it after leaping up to try to make that block. Look, I guess, to try to walk it off, and a few steps later, crumpled to the ground. Like I said, that would be a big, big loss for this Air Force team. He has really been the standout for this Air Force D-line.
A couple of Air Force players making a little bit of humor out of this situation, yelling establish the perimeter and establishing themselves crouching on the sideline as if they're protecting their injured comrade.
You know, a little military academy humor there.
Hoping he's okay. The way he went down made it look like it was definitely a cramp. We'll see if we can find out a little bit more.
Yeah, but of course, I mean, a bad enough cramp can keep you out for the rest of the game here. But yeah, we'll try to keep you updated on the injury situation with Noah Chun Moy. And it's Alan Villanueva who comes onto the field. Not a bad sub to be able to bring Villanueva onto the field in this situation as Air Force looks for the break to give themselves a little bit of breathing room.
And you see Salzman just switched off the matchup, but Salzman and Villanueva were matched up there for a second. 2 club teammates playing for Denver Johnny Bravo together. Would have been fun to see them match up with each other.
And Ramos turfs that one. So Air Force giving it back. Salzman will pick up for Middlebury.
And now we're getting the matchup of Villanueva on Salzman. Salzman goes up big with the huck to DiLorenzo.
DiLorenzo has a step and the height advantage downfield. DiLorenzo getting up over his opponent, Connor Grant, no chance. DiLorenzo, the star cutter from Middlebury, coming through once again.
Great throw from Salzman to give his big man a chance at it. Saw that DiLorenzo had the height mismatch, put the disc up on a shelf, and let DiLorenzo go catch it at his peak.
Great grab from DiLorenzo. And really, he's having a great game. Been all over the stat sheet. Has 4 assists. I believe that was his first goal of the game, but been a great weapon for Middlebury.
And it feels like every time he's showing up on the stat sheet, it's with an exciting play. It's with a big play. He doesn't really notch the boring goals, the easy goals. It seems like every play is exciting and electric and provides a shock of energy to his team.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen that smile on his face after doing something incredible.
That's right. And he's been doing that all day. We mentioned this earlier. He had the massive sky on double game point and semis coming down over a pack, really getting it at his peak. And he'd had a few other grabs in that game as well. They really missed him in the first half, and he was a game changer for him in the second, really helping them get to this point. Air Force continuing to work on Chun Moy on the sideline. Hopefully he's able to get back out there on the field.
For now, we see the Air Force offense out there. Villanueva with the disc. Settles for the easy race at the Yancher, and Yancher going long. Oh, and that's blocked away at the last second. Contact late. It was Frankenberg who was able to swat it away, and he's going to get a yellow card for it.
I'd like to see that again.
Yeah.
A quick yellow card there feels like a little bit of an overreaction. It felt like an honest play.
So Yancher, as we've seen so many times in this game, going for the big forehand, looking for Moran downfield.
Yeah, and looking at it again, I think the yellow card comes because he made no attempt really to not create contact on the play. He took a pretty direct path that went straight through the offensive player. Didn't try and cut it short and take a different lane or anything, just went crashing into the cutter there. And on second look, I think it's a fair yellow card.
Yeah, I would say made no effort to find where his opponent was, had his eyes on the disc the whole way, and that amount of contact could definitely be a dangerous situation. You see Air Force get the hold. Quick score after the resumption of play. Moshe with the goal.
Simple little end zone set right there. Villanueva making a little shotgun cut, bouncing back around the handler with the disc and catching it with momentum to the break side and popping it out there to space for Moshe to go and grab the easy goal.
We take another look at that foul. Yeah, and when you get the hip up near the shoulder area too, I mean that's, it's definitely dangerous concussion territory as well. So, while maybe it looked like he certainly got the disc first, I think, before the contact, but the path he took to that spot, I think, was probably warranted of the yellow card there.
I agree, and hopefully Frankenberg can go back and look at that play and learn from it. He is a freshman, and he has been a dynamic player for Middlebury this weekend, and it's a great play to peel off deep and help out and be there as a help defender on the backside on a huck. He did everything right until the finish, and the execution just wasn't there. So hopefully as a young player he can rewatch this and learn from that play and be better for it next time.
Tension building here. It's been all holds in the second half. You wonder which side will claim that first break in the second half. Will be a big difference maker on how the end of this game shapes up.
Yet no Chun Moy, still getting worked on the sideline.
DiLorenzo coming under and looking for it all. Going up, unable to make the catch. Strensky able to get a hand on it, but good pressure defense down there. Hansen right there with Strensky.
Looked like a pretty good throw, just hung a little bit longer than DiLorenzo would have liked, allowing Hansen to catch up and make a play at it.
Yeah, asked a lot of Strensky there. And so Air Force will have the opportunity to break without Chun Moy on the field, without Villanueva on the field, and a lot of their other most dangerous offensive players will be able to get it. This one floating to the near sideline, definitely not the intended target, but they won't complain. Charlie Waz runs that one down. Air Force able to flip the field. Ramos with it now. Looking for the reset.
Sorry, Dan. Air Force really missing Chun Moy here as you see them overshoot it. Just lacking that steady hand in the backfield to help work the disc down the field. You had to feel like they were going to count on a huck there. A lot of athletes on this line, not a lot of technical ultimate players, and you see there they shoot it out the back of the end zone.
Yeah, well out the back. No one had a chance to down. But look at this catch by Nathan Kolakovic. Man in the camera, easy one-handed grab, impressive play. But as a result of the turnover, Middlebury gets to get in. And a great one-handed catch. DiLorenzo, an incredible play, and now looking to air it out once again, looking for Strensky. And that one is on the money. Kai DiLorenzo, are you kidding me?
Have yourself a game, Kai DiLorenzo. Unbelievable grab, and you had to know he was going to come up shooting after such an incredible catch. Tries to shoot to Strensky again. This time hits him in stride, and nice, easy goal. Full extension on that grab. One of the things I really like is how DiLorenzo steps out nice and big away from his mark on these hucks. You've seen a couple of times how close the mark is to getting a piece of it. And the extension, the step out, he's releasing that at full extension, and it just takes the mark out of it and still manages to keep the throw nice and flat. Really impressive stuff.
Yeah, DiLorenzo adding that one to an already pretty impressive individual highlight reel from this game.
Interesting point here because we will have another heat timeout, I believe, once a team hits 11. So kind of a double timeout point here in that both teams are going to get to rest after this.
Mike, I don't know about you. I'm not even on the field in this game, but my stress levels are really rising right now. Every point, every throw feels like it could completely change the layout of this game.
Yeah. It seems like this might come down to who makes the first mistake. Just because both teams are making so many plays, it might come down to who's the first one who gives one away. And that's a very nerve-wracking feeling, a very tension-inducing feeling to be in that position. And both teams are just stepping up and making play after play. It's been a super exciting game.
Yeah, certainly a great game so far. Absolutely living up to just what you hope a championship final to be. You see Yancher with the disc for Air Force, hoping to find Villanueva for the reset. Has to turn back downfield. Now it's blocked. Frierson unable to make the catch. Sean Fallon with the D. Middlebury gets their first break opportunity of the second half. Leo Silva Fernandez picking up.
Nice find on that inside flick.
And they continue now. Middlebury just outside the red zone. And now they get inside. Frankenberg with the disc as play stops for a pick. And it looks like Frankenberg is going to call a timeout. Middlebury, I think, sensing how important this possession is. They've had so few opportunities these last several points to get a break. And one here would certainly change the complexity of the game.
Going back to the turnover for Air Force there, we've seen a similar pattern from their offense. Villanueva getting the disc as the center handler. Middlebury poaching the lanes, not letting Villanueva be the one who beats them. Swinging it over to that four-side handler, and then Air Force failing to get the disc off the line. And there's been a couple of times now where they've tried to throw that inside flick and just haven't been able to connect on it. And that one was a high stall, and the Middlebury defense was super tight. Sean Fallon getting a great block there on the under on Frierson, who's been pretty dominant so far. And there was a sense of inevitability to Air Force turning the disc over in one of those patterns, getting themselves in the same spot every time. You had to think Middlebury was going to clamp down and stop one of them.
Yeah, they did there. And really, it's almost always a bad thing when, after looking for your reset for a few seconds, to have to turn back upfield. That really works out in your favor.
Yeah, that's certainly as a defense what you want, because the timing and the rhythm of the offense is usually thrown off at that point. It's more of a bailout situation where the offense is having to hope for the best rather than create and manufacture the best that they're looking to do within their system.
So impressive defense from Middlebury, and now they have this opportunity outside of the timeout to retake the lead. And the first cut out of the timeout is wide open at the front corner. Middlebury gets the break. They claim the advantage late. Asher Lance with the goal.
I'd like to see a replay of what happened there. That was just such a simple cut, straight from the back of the stack to the front cone. You don't usually see a goal that easy out of a timeout.
Take a second look here. Yeah, just kind of cutting from the blind spot. Air Force defender deep. Didn't have his eyes on Lance.
Looks like if you look at Moshe at the back of the stack there, he's squared up the totally wrong way. He's staring straight at the thrower and is doing nothing to seal off that lane from his cutter. And Lance sees the lane and says, "Thank you very much," cuts straight to that front cone and takes the easy goal.
Yeah, really kind of a surprising lapse of awareness there, particularly outside of a timeout.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder if Moshe realized that the disc was being tapped in. He's usually a better player than that. Pretty uncharacteristic mistake on his part. And looking at this Air Force line, you can see Chun Moy back on the field. Hopefully they've managed to work through that cramp and he's able to play here and not have to take another injury. It's not gotten any cooler out here, I know that, so it's not going to get any easier on him. It'll be interesting to see, though, with the addition of Chun Moy to this line, if they're able to move Villanueva downfield into the cutting space where we've seen their offense look a lot more clean. See how they manage to utilize Villanueva on this point.
And DiLorenzo sending on a big bendy pull. Oh, and unable to be stopped, and that'll go to the back of the end zone. Yancher unable to stop the hop, and that means Air Force will have to go as long as you can possibly go, starting in the very back of their own end zone. Villanueva looking for a big shot downfield right away, looking for Chun Moy, but that one's too low to the ground. Middlebury takes over in the Air Force half of the field. And another break now you really feel would be pretty back-breaking for Air Force. Frankenberg looking for DiLorenzo in the end zone, and he toes the line, but unable to hold on. Great effort from DiLorenzo.
Unbelievable coordination there to even give himself a chance at it.
Oh, and I think that just slipped out of the hands. Not sure if that was blocked or not, but it's a turnover either way. The expression on DeLatte makes me think it just slipped out of his hands. Really a brutal turnover there for Air Force, and Middlebury with a very short field to work with now. Frankenberg with it once again. Silva Fernandez able to fight his way open for that reset. Coming back to the middle of Frankenberg. To the break side to the end zone. Middlebury gets the break. They give themselves a bit of late breathing room here. I believe that's the biggest lead of the day for either side, going up 2 goals.
It is indeed. That's Danny Grubbs-Donovan with the goal there. You can see the frustration from Air Force. Really a self-inflicted break there, first by not fielding the pull cleanly and then the disc slipping out of DeLatte's hands. That's a tough one to swallow.
See this effort from Di Lorenzo on their first break chance. Oh, and he had it right until he hit the ground. Great effort from Di Lorenzo. And with that being the 12th goal for Middlebury, we will now take that second heat timeout. I think we have another update from our own Sam Echeverria. Sam, how's it going out on the field?
So I know the big piece there was Noah Chunmoy going out with that cramp. He was on the sideline, one of the Air Force support team here, really working out his legs, keeping him cool, putting him under some shade. He was down for a good number of minutes, and then he just brings back up and plays this last point here. So it's good to see he's up. He's pretty matter of fact. It's just these are the breaks, and this is how it happens, and sometimes you cramp up. So I know everybody's glad to have him back out there on the field.
Sam, do you have any idea of what his physical capacity is right now? Did he give any kind of indication to?
He didn't give any indication. He, I think, is just going to – this is the final. You got to put out what you can. This is your last shot to use what you've got. Obviously, I think there is wanting to take care of yourself and not injure yourself for in the end of game. But I think he's going to push himself to wherever he can make it happen.
Yeah, season coming to a close for both these teams. Sam, thanks so much for that update. Air Force now in a pretty bad spot, though, having given up back-to-back breaks, down 2 goals, not a whole lot of time left.
Yeah, the last heat break that we got was coming off of an Air Force break. This time we're coming off of a couple of breaks from Middlebury. Certainly different circumstances, a different vibe, a different feel to this game. But again, a blessing of a break here for the team coming off a break. This time it's Air Force. I think it's giving them a good chance to really reset themselves physically and mentally and emotionally, and treating it like a timeout that they didn't have to spend, especially since they're making a comeback here. You have to imagine they're going to need to utilize their timeouts at some point.
In Air Force, you wonder, when the flashbacks start coming back, having been so close to winning the championship last year and coming up just empty, is that something that creeps into their mind here as they feel like maybe this one's slipping away a bit?
Yeah, and having already lost once to this Middlebury team this season, it's a tough mental hurdle to overcome, knowing that this is a team that's beaten you before and now you're down and having to overcome the odds, not just of being the underdog in this game, but having to overcome the ghosts of your past of losing in the final.
And we do see Chun Moy back out on the field. So as Sam said in her update, he really is going to give it a go here down the stretch. Nothing really to lose at this point.
I think one of the big keys to the second half, at least, and where the game has swung, is the underclassmen of Middlebury stepping up big time. Obviously, Di Lorenzo has made a few big plays, but you've got guys like Walker Frankenberg and Leo Silva Fernandez who were kind of walking the disc in on that last point, and they throw the goal to Danny Grubbs-Donovan, who's a sophomore. You have freshmen and sophomore out there stepping up in these big moments and taking some of the pressure off of their upperclassmen teammates.
So you get a good look at the Air Force offense, desperately needing to clean it up, get a hold here, stay in this game.
We saw in the last point that Chun Moy was the one downfield cutting, and Villanueva stayed in the backfield. Wonder if we'll see that again or if they'll switch things up a little bit on this point.
Nice floaty pull from Silva Fernandez. Chun Moy coming underneath. Looking downfield, but nothing doing for Air Force. Really has his eyes on Villanueva, who unable to wriggle free from Silva Fernandez downfield. Now we have to call it the disc.
Chunmoy really locking in on Villanueva there, not really considering anybody else. You could see he wanted to trust his senior teammate to make the big play.
Contact goes down to 1. You restart the count. So violation, coming 1.
You heard from our observer cam exactly why the players brought play to a halt. Disc back in now. Chunmoy looking for anything but lockdown defense all over the field from Middlebury. And Chunmoy going to have to punt it, looking for Villanueva. And Villanueva gets up, had space on Silva Fernandez, but a stall is called. Frankenberg with the mark, saying he got to 10 before Chunmoy was able to get that throw off.
Huge decision here from the observers. I feel like this is really going to make or break the game here.
You're contesting something? You're contesting the stall.
Yeah, and I'm
Okay.
doing fast count.
Okay. Do you want a ruling or do you want to play it as a contest?
I'll show you.
All right. Our ruling, it is a stall.
Back here.
Back here. Hey, stop! Where you were when the stall happened.
I'd say good for Noah Chunmoy in that situation, knowing that allowing a consist gets him the disc back. I think wanted to get the right call, and you see a little physical frustration. Maybe he regrets making that decision now, but in the moment, I think a spirited decision to get a real ruling in that moment, such a high-pressure situation. Air Force in a tight spot now, have to get this disc back.
And you saw him pause for a few seconds before making that decision, really considering what he was doing.
Freshman Silva Fernandez picking up. Lance with it now. And the layup block comes up short. Just outside the end zone as Frankenberg thought it was a score, and he will call a timeout right on that front cone. Villanueva putting everything out there, trying to get that disc back, not quite able to get it. So another timeout for Middlebury. Air Force, you really feel they have to get this one back.
Yeah, and actually coming from a defensive standpoint, having them trapped here on this cone, not the worst spot to be in defensively as far as guarding the goal line, but inches away from getting the block on that upline cut. So close. And again, it's the freshman of Middlebury stepping up to make the plays here as we'll get a replay. Chunmoy just inches away from getting that block. But again, it's the freshmen on Middlebury who are stepping up to make the plays. You had Frankenberg on the mark there, getting the stall on Chunmoy. You have Silva Fernandez taking the Villanueva matchup downfield and denying him the cuts that led to that stall, and then coming down and throwing the first gainer and catching the disc here at the goal line. And they've just been so impressive in showing a maturity beyond their years out here that's got to be encouraging for Middlebury, knowing that they've got these players for another 3 years at least.
Yeah, those freshmen not shying away from the big moment or the big matchups. And they are just inches away from their fourth straight goal and third straight break. Disc back in play. Frankenberg able to get it off the sideline. And there to the end zone. Middlebury makes it 4 straight goals. They have a commanding lead late now, up 13-10. Going to take something dramatic from Air Force.
Yeah, that's you can see them hanging their heads as they walk back down the line here. And yet another assist for Walker Frankenberg. That's his 3rd straight assist on this the last 3 goals. It's part of a 4-point run for Middlebury, but 3 straight for Frankenberg, and he's really asserted himself in this game and is thriving down the stretch.
And the 2nd straight goal for Danny Grubbs Donovan as well.
Freshman to sophomore. Air Force rolling with largely the same line. You can see them trying to bring water out to their players, and Middlebury continuing to just utilize their depth, not having to throw their stars on the line, and you got to think that favors them for when they do come back in to be able to take this game home on offense if they need to.
And one thing I have noticed, Mike, is it doesn't look like Frierson is out there for Air Force. Matt Frierson had a really big impact in this game earlier. Haven't seen him make an impact in a little while. Not sure if he's feeling an injury or what the situation is there, but while Chun Moy and Villanueva and some of Air Force's other bigger names have really kind of had a tough go all game long, Frierson is one of those players to step up with maybe a little bit of an easier matchup, but hasn't been out there to make an impact of late.
You see Connor Grant here getting that under crossing over from the D-line, showing the trust that Air Force has in the talented underclassmen.
And Caden Culp has it, able to get it off the sideline to Villanueva. Villanueva going for a big backhand, looking for Moshe. Oh, and great defensive play to save the goal. Thought Moshe had position there to make the catch.
Asher Lance with an incredible block, doing a really nice job of catching it at his peak and just getting the fingertips on it and preventing Moshe from making the grab.
Yeah, unreal athleticism from Lance. Take another look to get up. As Mike said, at the high point, and now Middlebury, a chance to really put this one away. Nice throw. Middlebury got a long way to go. This one maybe coming back in bounds. No, not quite. That's a turnover, and I think it was out of bounds the whole way, so Air Force should have good field position here.
Tough look there from Frankenberg, trying to go on a break side flick huck there. Always going to be a tough throw. It was probably going to have to be inch perfect anyways. His cutter wasn't super open.
Air Force sideline trying to communicate to Chun Moy that he can bring the disc up a little bit further. Oh, and Chun Moy looking for the reset, but that's kind of been emblematic of how these last few points have gone for Air Force. Michael Delat unable to get to that one, and Chun Moy showing his frustration as Middlebury has another chance to break. On a weird slip on the throw to the end zone. Travel called. It's a bit of an odd play. It looked like Frankenberg just lost his footing as he was going for the throw.
Really an incredible throw considering his lack of footing there. Still hits his cutter in stride, but I would be shocked if this travel wasn't upheld.
Yeah, awkward play. I'm really not sure what that was. The disc is going back to Frankenberg.
Again, we see Frankenberg, though, commanding this point, looking to throw his 4th straight assist.
Disc back in play. Frankenberg going to the other side this time, and he does complete it. Looks like we have another travel call.
Third time's the charm here.
Gets back in, goes over, and it's intercepted. Goal-saving play from Noah Chun Moy.
Deep shot, Chun Moy.
And Chun Moy gets up over a couple of defenders. Great play from Chun Moy. Air Force hanging on by a thread here. Chun Moy with a couple of nice plays on this point, including that catch, and he immediately calls a timeout.
Incredible grab there, and I think a savvy play, too, to call a timeout. Looked like there were more defenders downfield with him than there were offensive players. Didn't really have any other options, and this is a crucial point. Got to make this one count. The answer with that big flick huck again.
And Chun Moy finally able to get one over Frankenberg. Feels like Frankenberg has really had the advantage, especially in the second half.
You know, even if Air Force scores this point, it has to feel like a win for Middlebury. They are making Air Force's top end work so incredibly hard. And Middlebury doesn't have several of their top players on this line. There's no DiLorenzo on this line. There's no Salzman on this line. Those two have been resting for a few points now. It's really been this underclassmen contingent led by a couple of seniors. Got Asher Lance and Alex Ford out there. But it's really the underclassmen who are being super impressive in leading this run that's given Middlebury this lead.
Yeah, the Air Force top players really have a tough road ahead of them, even if they do get the hold here. You feel like they'll probably have to play just about every point going the rest of the way in this heat. It's a tough task. But before they can do that, they really need the goal here. Villanueva with a blade and a great one-handed catch in the end zone for the goal. Moshe, an impressive coordinated grab there. So Air Force does get the hold to stay in it, stay within something resembling striking distance, down just 2.
Really a wild throw there for Villanueva. Goldschmidt fans across the country right now are appreciating that blade. He saw his cutter open and really sliced it in there and shot it in there too quickly for the defender to really make a play at it.
One more look, this throw for Villanueva. I feel like there was maybe some impatience in that throw. Desperately wanted the goal. They've been broken a few points in a row.
Yeah, certainly an attempt to try and get that point done with as quickly as possible after it dragged on for quite some time.
Thanks to that great grab from O'Shea, it does work out for Villanueva and Air Force. And I mentioned before that point that Matt Frierson, we haven't seen him have an impact so much in the second half. We see him limping around on the sideline, so looks like an injury is keeping him out, which is really a shame. He was, I would have to say, Air Force's player of the game so far.
Yeah, certainly the one who was winning his matchup the most consistently.
But Air Force will have to carry on without him and have a lot to do without him. Down 2 here late, game to 15. And that pull goes just out of bounds right at the end of the throw.
Little thing to watch here, just notice Chun Moy grab at that cramping hamstring one last time after running down on that pole. Have to keep an eye on him here, see what his mobility looks like on this D point.
Salzman hits DiLorenzo. And DiLorenzo looking for the goal right away. That one's floating, though, a couple defenders in the area. And Villanueva goes up. He goes up so early and so high and able to intercept that one. Great play from the Air Force star.
Chun Moy is busted deep. He's taking himself out of the play, kind of.
Let's go, Dark!
Moshe coming under.
Work high! Work high!
We have a pick call that'll bring play to a halt. It's Chun Moy with the disc. Air Force in desperate need of breaks. They can't be wasteful with their opportunities now. Chun Moy going long, but Salzman always the favorite to get to that one. Looks like there may have been a foul on the throw, though.
Yeah, you could hear the slap of the hands. I'm not sure when that contact occurred. I think DiLorenzo will probably argue that it was after the throw was released and didn't impact the throw. But let's see what the discussion says.
Okay, do you want a ruling?
I mean, is it his choice? Like,
It's either of your choices whether you want a ruling or you can play it as a contested foul.
contested foul is fine. I don't like. I mean, you fouled.
Okay, do you want a ruling or not? Okay, my ruling, it is a foul. We're coming back here, 1.
So here, Chun Moy going to the observer once again, this time getting the ruling in his favor. DiLorenzo is judged to have committed the foul on the throw. Chun Moy coming right back for the forehand, and DiLorenzo getting just a finger on the throw. Not sure if that one would have been completed anyway, but he's certainly going to take credit for the D.
Tough matchup there for Chun Moy. DiLorenzo, significantly taller than him, is going to be able to put a big mark on there, and you can see even on the force side managing to get a piece of that throw.
So Salzman picking up in the corner of his own end zone. Able to move the mark off with that fake and then gets an easy under. But Middlebury is still on this near sideline. Great block. Noah Chun Moy leaving it all out on the field. Big layout, gets the disc back for Air Force.
This kid is a gamer. He is going to leave everything he has out there. We saw him take off a few points with the cramps, come back out here and battle as hard as ever. What an impressive block.
Villanueva looking for the end zone right away, and Moshe able to make the catch, maybe? No. Yes? Hard to tell, no. Ruled incomplete. He had a hand on it. Good defense, though, from Strensky. Thought Moshe came down with it and that it popped out after that, but ruling is incomplete. Air Force gives it back.
Moshe's been really quiet this game. You feel like he's overdue to make a big play, and I thought this was going to be the one.
No, it's just a great block, though, from Strensky. Or, excuse me, from DiLorenzo. Who else? Have to give DiLorenzo credit. From here, it looked like it hit the cutter in the hands. Looked like Moshe had it and dropped it on contact. But no, DiLorenzo swatting that one away. A great defensive play from a player who has had a great game. Big layout block coming up empty. Travel called will bring the disc back.
Not a fan of that travel call. It's one of those things where technically he did travel, but he traveled to avoid contact with the defender who had just bid. I think that's one of those understood things where he's just trying to avoid the contact, and you should let that play on.
Yeah, the observer rules no travel on the play anyway. Air Force, some great defensive plays and really great opportunities to get one of those breaks back, but the offensive execution just has not been there, and that's what's plagued them really this entire second half. But the defensive effort has certainly been there on this point. They need to get it back at least one more time. And there it is, once again, Noah Chun-Moy, and another incredible layout block. Can Air Force take advantage this time?
You got to feel like Chun-Moy's got Salzman's number right now. He's reading him perfectly. He's beating him to the spots that Salzman wants to go to, and he's got the athletic ability to seal the deal with a block.
Delat hits Villanueva up the line. We're getting a lot of calls now.
I think part of that is coming down to how tired the players are getting. Maybe making calls they wouldn't have earlier in the game, but buying themselves a few seconds of rest with these calls.
Disc is back in play with Villanueva. So the reset to Chun-Moy.
Look for him to go back to Villanueva and then strike up the line. That's one of their favorite moves.
So the reset to Delat. That disc popping up in the air, but it's caught. Impressive play. And Air Force now knocking just on the door. And there's the break. They finally get it. Ted Yancher done a lot of throwing in this game. Catches the goal that time.
I think that's actually Connor Grant with the catch there.
Good call, Mike. Yeah, misread the 13 as a 17 somehow, but Air Force gets the break on their third chance of the point. This one setting up for an exciting finish.
Really impressive grab there. Chun-Moy with the nice inside flick, but it was coming in hot in a tight space. And Connor Grant, we've talked about him a lot. Super talented sophomore. He's taken the tough matchup with DiLorenzo, and he's gotten involved offensively a few times as well, including that very big goal there for Air Force.
See that grab from Villanueva.
Length for days. You see he came over from a help position there, just really aware defending there from Villanueva. Not his player at all to cover, but helping his teammate out. And there's one of Chun-Moy's layout blocks in the strike cut.
And another one there. That one a bit easier, but you see how fired up he was.
Flexing at us in the booth. Gotta love the intensity.
And they had to get that break, Mike. You felt it coming with those great defensive plays. To not have gotten the break there, not only would have made coming back virtually impossible, but it would have been so deflating too. Now they get that momentum. Still need a couple breaks, but it feels a little more possible now.
Yeah, certainly. You made that point, the deflation of not getting that break. After making all those plays, if you still don't get a break, it leaves you feeling, what else can we do? What more are we capable of doing that we're not doing right now to get a break? And that's big. I think that's the first break we've seen from Air Force since they broke to go up 4-2. Been pretty quiet since then, but all Middlebury, and big plays there from Air Force's best players stepping up in the moment when they needed them the most. And Air Force took a timeout here. Certainly you think to try and buy their players as much rest as possible. They waited as long as they could in the 90 seconds between points before burning the timeout. So maximizing the amount of rest that they can get between points. And you see as they're bringing their players back out on the line, a lot of those same top-end players getting after it again. Chun-Moy, Villanueva, Moshe.
Yeah, Yeah, and something to keep an eye on here, Mike. We've been told that there's a possibility that we're going to have to bump up the heat advisory to level 2, which I believe would put 2.5-minute breaks between each point. That actually might be something that Air Force is kind of rooting for here.
Sure.
You know, it's already hot out there. A couple of degrees difference is going to make a huge difference, but you get that extra breathing time for a team that probably needs to have their top guys out there the rest of this game.
Yeah, I'd venture to say they'd trade a few degrees more of warmth to buy themselves extra seconds of rest for sure.
So after a great defensive point, Air Force back out there on defense. Nice catch by Lance under pressure. Able to reset to Hansen. Easy gainer for DiLorenzo. Back to Hansen.
Villanueva trying to help his teammates over the top is just giving up free unders to Asher Lance. I feel like there's a point where he's got to just lock in and trust that his teammates can get the blocks themselves.
We have a stoppage on a pick call. Frankenberger will keep the disc, but his defender will be able to catch up. It looks like Leo Silva Fernandez is calling injury. He'll be replaced by Salzman on the field. Not sure what the injury is for Silva Fernandez.
He walked off pretty comfortably.
Disc back in play. Middlebury able to attack the force side, just outside the end zone. Hansen with the disc. And that one swatted away. We have a foul call from Salzman. And we're getting told that the injury call from Silva Fernandez was that his hand was having tremors. He was cramping, so perhaps some dehydration issues for the young freshman. And that was a foul from Air Force, so Middlebury has the disc once again, and that block attempt comes up just empty. So Middlebury gets the hold. Strensky with the goal. They are 1 point away from a national championship.
And we've talked about it a couple of times. Chunmoy, excellent spirit, no contesting that foul call there in a big moment on the goal line, and a lot of players wouldn't have done the same. Commendable on his part to keep it honest and no contest the foul. And really nice patience from Middlebury. They got themselves on the trap side cone a couple of times and managed to hit the around and open up the field for themselves and find the easy goal.
So now we know exactly what both teams need. Middlebury just needs a goal to win. Air Force has to get a hold. And then a couple of breaks. But with the defensive intensity we've seen from Air Force, if they're able to get this hold, I wouldn't put that past them. Their ability to come back.
So one thing that we were just wondering is whether we were up against the cap here, because we are at 107 minutes in this game, but we did just receive confirmation that there is going to be no hard cap in this game. So no matter what, we are going to 15. Time will not be an issue. I actually really like that. I don't like when finals get hard capped. The situation where a national champion could be decided without scoring a goal to win it. Not fun for anybody. We are going to get a game to 15 here, and the national champion will have to score to win.
That should set us up for an exciting finish. You see the poll. Air Force has to score with 3 straight. They got to start that on offense here. Looking for Villanueva deep. Oh, and a big bid. But unable to make the catch. He'd beaten his defender, Lance, deep.
And it looks like he's taking an injury as well.
And that's something you really hate to see. Villanueva, one of the stars of the game. And you certainly want, spectators certainly want to see him out there for these last few moments. Hopefully, if Air Force is able to hang on, he'll be able to get back out there. You know, such a competitor hates having to come off the field in a game like this, in a spot like this.
Yeah, we'll try and see if Sam's heading over there now to see if she can get a report for us on what the injury is and see if we can figure out what's going on.
Sam, yeah, what are you hearing?
Yeah, so Villanueva is there in the shade tent right now, sitting down, trying to really get his breath back. He's cooling off his cleats. I think that's really just nailing them over there on how hot this turf is. So he's resting up, getting some water. I think he'll be back in pretty shortly, but obviously taking care of himself right now.
Yeah, thanks, Sam, for that update. For Villanueva to get back out on the field, Air Force has to score this point. They will have a chance as that huck from Middlebury comes up empty. And Air Force hucking it right back. Looking for Frierson, who's back out there, but you see him really hobbled, unable to chase that one down. I think a fully healthy Frierson probably catches that one pretty easily. But another turnover from Air Force.
And Middlebury has a chance here to march the field and break for the win.
Fengenberg with a nice break throw. Hitting Grubbs. Donovan. A pick allows Yansher to catch back up. Fengenberg has again. He's going to air it out. Looking for Lance deep. And that floats over everybody. Middlebury has it just outside the end zone. Benjamin Allen Rahill goes to the end zone. It's caught. A little anticlimactic, but Van Lunsgaard catches the goal for Middlebury, making them 2019 national champions.
Really great effort there following up on the huck that floated over the intended target's head. Middlebury having the energy, having the effort to be there and clean up the trash and drop it into the end zone.
Take another look at this title-winning play for Middlebury. A play that was filled with lots of highlight reel plays. This one felt a little anticlimactic, not the target that throw was meant for, but Allen Rahill catching it, and then without the mark, able to dink it to Lunsgaard for the score.
Yeah, and while that play was anticlimactic, it's kind of a perfect encapsulation of this game. Middlebury was able to count on their entire depth, count on their entire roster to step up and make plays. That was very much a second-string D-line that they had out there, resting their starters to try and carry it out on offense if they had to. And you had a freshman and Benjamin Allen Rahill flipping in the game winner to a sophomore, Van Lunsgaard. And, again, it's the depth, it's the young players that take it home for Middlebury.
And you get a kind of glimpse of the emotion running through a player like Allen Villanueva, who did everything he could to win this game for Air Force. But instead, it's Middlebury that comes out on top. Our own Sam Echeverria is with Dylan Salzman, the captain and coach for Middlebury. A hard-fought championship for Salzman.
I'm out here with
his
Dylan
team.
Salzman, captain of Middlebury and national champion in the men's division here. How does it feel to be a national champ?
It feels hot. It's really hot out here, and it feels even better because it was a team effort. Our last point was a freshman to a sophomore, both of whom are sort of down on our rotation, but our depth won us that game, and that's a testament to the way that we've played all year.
Yeah, you played your game, your way. What did that look like? And where's the future for y'all?
Listen, the future's only going up. We're graduating 4 seniors. I'm one of them. I've been hurt all year. This is the first tournament I played. My first practice was Wednesday. This is not about me. This is not about Asher. It's not about Leo. It's not about Walker. It's not about any of our superstars. It's about the team that we've put together because that's how we've built our program. And I think that's what it means to keep going up, to let those people fill the role.
Congrats to your team, and go enjoy your national title. Signing off.
Thank you, Sam. Salzman, one of the bigger names on this Middlebury team, but I mean, honestly, he's right. You know, a lot of people give credit to their role players, but we saw the role players get the decisive goal, and we also saw that be the difference in this game as Air Force players, their stars were banged up. Middlebury able to go deeper into the rotation, and particularly late in that game, that felt like it was the difference.
Yeah, and you heard Salzman say how he's been hurt all season. They haven't been able to count on him, and I think that forced their hand to develop other players and to develop some depth all season, not knowing what the status of Salzman was going to be for the postseason and for the series, and you saw that pay off. You saw the players who have had to step up in his absence all season manage to step up again in the big moments, and you saw Salzman didn't play those last few points, and DiLorenzo wasn't in on that last point, and just really incredible stuff and really cool for Middlebury to have that experience as a team and really be able to feel like everybody on that roster contributed to this championship.
And so that's a conclusion to a great season for Middlebury, your 2019 D3 national champs, winning 15-12 over Air Force. We have one more final coming your way in the women's division. We've got Bates and Oberlin. That one should be good too. With Mike Ball, I've been Daniel Prentice. Thanks for tuning in, but be sure to come back 2 o'clock for that women's game next.